streaming. Oops, I'll turn this off. Okay. Get this. What it? Hello, everybody. I'm sorry, I'm a little discombobulated today. Yeah, it's been quite the day. All right, so I'm like 5 minutes late here, so I'm sorry if anybody was on and then left me and then realized I came back on. I'm sorry about that. Basically, I had such a nice time with Nick last week. That was so much fun to chat with him. And then, during the weekend, I got a question in my Facebook group about how to fit underwear. And I thought, oh, it's like pants fitting. Well, actually, it was a couple weeks ago. I'm sorry, a couple weeks ago. So I did a Fit Tip Tuesday on some simple things I would do to fit my underwear pattern if I were to make underwear. And, I'm feeling a little, I don't know, something. You know how you say you're never going to do something? Like I was never going to spend my time fitting or making my own underwear. Hey, Barbara, welcome. And then I got to thinking about it. I made, last summer, Fabric Mart had a collection of yoga pants fabric or athletic wear fabrics, and she called them Beyond Yoga fabrics. And I purchased a few different pieces of that at the time. And the fabric I picked out was a very lightweight polyester jersey that was very soft and very comfortable. And actually I made, and I'm just going to grab it here. I have it. I made this, and I have a tank top on. I'm going to take off my long sleeve shirt. It's 40 degrees here, by the way. It's crazy chilly based on the fact that it was so warm earlier. So, it's New England, it's Connecticut. But I just want to put this I just want to put this tank top on. You may have remembered me making this. Okay, so I made this tank top. This fabric is 4-way stretch. It's soft, it's breathable, it's wonderful. And so what I decided is I have a second piece of it. It's a darker burgundy color, so I'm going to try making my undies out of this. I mean, I want to have enough to make a top with it too, but I think I got 2 yards, so I have plenty to play with. And the reason why I know this will make really good underwear is because I made a pair of sleep shorts out of the rest of this fabric, and I love them. They are so soft and comfortable and breathable. I love them. So I'm 100% sure it will make good underwear fabric. The only snafu for me is I don't know how to tell you how to get it now, because I'm not even sure they still have it at Fabric Mart. I didn't go and check, but they may have something similar. Or if you just look for like a lighter weight polyester spandex jersey, then that's what this is. I love it. Hey, Mary Ellen, welcome. Thank you for joining me. So I'll put a link to the video where I showed a pants fitting for making underwear. I forgot to put that link in the description, but I'll put it in there when I get off. And what I want to do here is show you the underwear pattern. I did put a link to the underwear pattern I'm working with. It's a free underwear pattern from Make Bra Shop, and it's in the description below. So if you want to download this free pattern, you totally can. And actually, I put it on my Instagram story yesterday because I thought I was going to have time to work on it yesterday. And the day got away from me yesterday. That's why I was kind of laughing when I started. I was really hoping to already have my first pair sewn up. Hey, Diane, welcome. So I didn't, my whole schedule got busted this week. Let me just say that. Oh, Christine is asking me, are the sleep shorts flowy or bike short type? They're bike short type. I don't like to have, like, you know, I wouldn't wear pajama bottoms that are like loose and relaxed fit. I like my fabric to be on my body, and I like shorts. I don't like anything long. I'm very hot, like I'm always hot. So I literally sleep with a tank top and those sleep shorts. That's my pajamas. So, and I do love them. And actually it's from my yoga pants pattern. I have a single leg yoga pants pattern. And so I make those up in all the different lengths. I have short ones that I wear, you know, to swim in or to sleep in. And then I make knee length ones and also longer ones. So it's all one pattern. It's my single one piece leg, pattern piece that I make short, and then I put skinny bands to finish the edge so I didn't have to hem them, and they're just super comfortable. Hey Diane, welcome, welcome. So that's my story. So I did have time to prep my pattern, so I'm going to show you that, and then I think I'll cut the pieces out. Maybe I'll baste them together. And then maybe I'll step off camera and just tell you if I think the fit is good. I really am not going to show you what I look like in my underwear. I'm just not doing that. So I was really, if you go look at the pattern from the website where I got it, there are plenty of people on there that show you how these underwear fit. I mean, maybe in the summer, I don't know. I'm just not feeling like I'm going to show you what I look like in my underwear right now. So I'm not doing that. But maybe I'll slip them on, you know, over the underwear I'm wearing just to see if they're closed, and then I'll come back on and tell you what I think. And then I'm going to play with different ways to finish the leg openings. I don't like elastic, so I don't think I'm going to be putting elastic in there. I think I might be working with knit strips, narrow knit strips for the leg openings, and then a wider knit strip for the waist. So that's how I think I'm going to finish them. But let me just show you what I have going on my table here. Here are the pieces. And what I did was I traced them off from, you know, what I had. So during my video where I showed the fitting, hey Tana, welcome. You're sweating on the Singer. I wish I was sweating. It's literally 40 degrees here. I'm going to put my long sleeve top on again because that's how chilly it is up here today. Normally I'm always hot, but it's a little nippy here in Connecticut. All right, let me put that back on. All right, so this was what I had during the video. I showed some simple adjustments. And one thing I shared that I think is kind of helpful for people is so you can see here what I did, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see it. You just zoom in here. Maybe let me just lighten this up a little bit. Sorry about that. I just want to get it so you can really see what I'm doing. Oh, that's better. Okay, so the original pattern when I traced it, and I'll just use this blue pen, the original line of the back leg was almost straight, and it looked like this. So I'm just going to darken it in blue. Okay, that was the original line. But I know, you know, especially if you have what do I want to say here now that I'm talking about underwear, like a prominent cheek, you might need some more length. So if you think about it, and I'm just going to get my ham here. So we're going to pretend this is a butt cheek, just for ha-has. And I'm going to put it on here like this, let's say. So if you've got a cheek and the pattern is not flat, right? Having some extra down here will help, you know, give more length to allow this to fit your cheek. So I guess that's what I'm calling it now, is a cheek. And I'm going to move me over here because I can make me small, and I think that's better. So what I did was I added almost, well, let's say I added a generous 1/2 inch here. Okay, so I basically just drew a line like this, and then I just blended back in to the original edges like this. And I think that's what that's going to do, is it's just going to give me that little bit more room for my behind. That's what I think. And here's the thing, if I'm wrong and I've got, you know, if it's too much, I can trim that back off. So I've added that. And so then when I traced the pieces I'm going to actually work on to cut out, so that you can see that that shape is in here. Okay, so I've got that shape already built in to this pattern. So this includes that shape that I added. And then the other thing is, I wanted to add a seam allowance here. Hey Victoria, you don't like pajama bottoms, nightgowns, and this is probably TMI, commando underneath the nightgown. Well, you know, I was talking with my workout partner when we were hiking this morning, and I was telling him how I was going to be doing undies. And I told him, I was talking about, I'm like, yeah, that's probably TMI, you know, whatever. I was talking about the underwear and how I can never find underwear I like, and how I need more fabric than I used to need when I was younger. I used to wear skinnier underwear. You know, my underwear is getting bigger and bigger as I get older and older. But, you know, I think it is very good for you to be free sometimes. It's good for your health. So I think that that's good. So I go commando underneath my sleep shorts, so I'll join in with you there, and I'll TMI it right back at you. So this is like a PG-13 episode of FabFit Friday. All right, so what I wanted to make sure about here is I have almost a petite rise. I'm tall, but I don't have a long crotch length, so I'm not going to add any here. I don't think I'm going to need to add extra on the crotch extensions like I showed in the video, because I don't think I'm going to need that. But I did want to make sure that the pieces sew together. So after I trace them, you can see what I did here was I put them together, and I made sure that when I go to sew, everything is going to match up. Hi Stephanie, welcome. I'm showing you my underwear pattern here that I'm going to be cutting out in a minute. But I have a 3/8 inch seam allowance here, and you can see everything matches up. And then if I were to open it back up, like if it were actually sewn, you can see that that will make a nice transition, you know, front to back. I can trim that little corner off, but basically I wanted to make sure, because this is coming this way and this is coming that way, that I made a nice transition on the leg. So that is my crotch seam. You know, and this crotch seam is going to basically sit at the base of my behind in the back, because remember, the front crotch actually, you know, comes up to meet the back through the leg like this. So if we look at it like this, you know, most of what's happening is this will be probably at the very lowest curve of my behind, and then really where I'm going to put the liner for the underwear is here. And it does come with the pattern, the little pattern piece, but I lost it. So after I make sure this is good, I'll just redraft the liner piece, which will be basically, it'll be this shape in here. And I'll catch it into the seam in the back. So it'll probably be like this long. And actually I probably could just go ahead and, this is how hard this is to draft already. Look at how difficult this is going to be. I know this is going to hit me at the base of my behind, so all I really have to do is maybe extend it to here. And so this whole piece will be, well, not the seam allowance, so it'll stop right here. But basically this whole piece will be my liner for the underwear. So that's how I'll get that back. Basically now, I talked about this before. I just want to show it to you again. Just like when you're making leggings or you're making something with negative ease, and also the garment is relying on the fact that you've got four-way stretch, right? This fabric stretches really nicely in this direction. So you can see it's nice and soft and stretchy. And then it also stretches, you know, pretty nice in this direction as well. It's not quite as stretchy in the vertical, but I can still get, if I hold a 10-inch piece, I can still get 30% easily. Okay, so it might not be as stretchy as I would like in the vertical direction, but again, I'm going to make a test pair and we're going to see. I do know the sleep shorts came out comfortable, so I think if the sleep shorts came out comfortable, then, you know, I don't see any problem with the underwear, because, you know, I feel like it's going to fit the same. I do want to mention, oops, as I'm, you know, chatting along here, that I did put a link in the description below for my new J Stern Designs YouTube Insider Club, and my husband and I have teamed up to finish this little project and get it available to you. So if you want to be, you know, among the first to be able to join me there in that club, you can sign up for the wait list, and then I will offer first options for joining that to the wait list. So all you have to do is click on the wait list link, and it will bring you to a landing page where you can put your email in there, and then you get a free set of croquis, which I think is kind of cool. So anyway, I got to fold this in a way where it makes sense for me to cut out. Now, I think to make this easy and manageable, I've got this big 2-yard piece of fabric, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half across the width of the fabric. And this would be a good tip for anybody who's, you know, working on something and they have, you know, they have a, you know, a large piece of fabric, but they only need a small amount of it. And so to manage the fabric, I'm literally going to, you know, fold it in half like this. So it's folded in half. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, you know, get it as neat as I can. And then I'm going to put my longer piece on the fabric. So, you know, vertically speaking, this is my longer piece, because remember, the crotch comes, you know, up through to the back. The front crotch makes this whole front piece longer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm literally just going to straighten this out just a little bit more. Let's see if I can get it to lay relatively nicely like this. And I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to put it here, and then I am 100% sure I'll be able to get both pieces out of the width of this fabric. So I'm literally going to just cut off the amount I need, and I want to make sure I'm not, you know, giving myself too much extra, but also enough. So see, I'm literally just going to cut it like this, and then I'll be able to put the rest of this away, and it'll make it easier for me to manage. All right, so I'm going to try for my first version of these underwear. I am going to try not having a center back seam. And then if after making that first pair, if I feel like I want a center back seam, I'm going to add one, because sometimes having a center back seam in underwear, you know, can make them fit better, but we'll see. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to try it with no center back seam. So basically what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to just fold this neatly. And actually the way I should fold it is, you know, make sure I have an even amount, or I fold it, you know, so I only need this much. Okay, and then I want to make sure that, see, I even need a little bit less. I'm going to make sure it's folded evenly on both sides. And what I mean by that is I want to make sure I'm folding this on the straight of grain, right? This is my salvage edge right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure, I'm going to get it to lay nice-ish. I'm going to measure how far that is from here. And it is 12.5 inches. So then I'm going to measure over here, and it's a little more than 12.5. So I'm literally just going to lower it a little bit on this side so I get 12.5 and 12.5 like this. So let me just double check. 12.5. Oh, now I'm at 12. And over here I'm at, 12.5. Oops. All right, let me just slide this side up a little. I don't want to go down. I want to go up because I think I need, just make sure I think I can get this nice. Now let me measure it. Okay, I'm back at 12.5 and then 12.5. All right, so now I've got that folded neatly. You can see this fabric is curling, so I'm just going to use my sew tights to kind of weight it down at the end to keep the fabric from rolling like this. And if you're working with fabric that rolls, see how it's rolling? What makes it roll more is if you stretch on it. So if you've got fabric that likes to roll, don't stretch it, because as you're stretching it, you're encouraging it to actually, roll more. All right, so now I'm going to put this on the fold like this. Sorry. Okay, you can see I've got plenty. And I want to make sure that I got to move this down because the way I cut it over here, I just want to make sure I have enough. I do. So you can see here, now that I've laid this on the fold like this, I'm just using my magnetic sew tight magnets to hold this on, which I think is super handy. I added 3/4 of an inch above the waist, and I added an inch seam allowance on the side. I just don't know if I'm going to want it to be more relaxed. Let me just see. Oh, Aunt Hannah says, I'm with you, Hannah. Bare butts unite. There you go. Hey, Stephanie, welcome. If I didn't welcome you, I'm sorry. I was busy working on this. All right, so now I'm going to cut this out. I mean, I think I can see that if this fits nice, I can't tell you the agita that I have had trying to find, underwear that I like. Like it's crazy. I cannot find in the store something that's comfortable. So I might have to start making all my own undies again. Oops. Let me just leave that right there. I'm going to cut this out. I also added about a 1/2 an inch extra on the length of the front leg too. I like a lower leg opening. I don't like it to be a big, like a wide leg opening. So I did add a little bit there as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this. Like this. Okay. All right, so I've cut out my front. Let's see how it looks. First pair of underwear ever. This is so exciting. You're witnessing history. Whoa, that looks gigantic. Well, remember, there's an extra inch on both sides, and it's flat. But you can see this is really like where, the center of my depth is. This is going to be more on the back lower curve of my behind over here. So this is where that's going to sit. All right, so I cut that one out. I'm going to move that out of the way, and then I'm going to reorganize my fabric so I can cut out the back. And again, you can see I have plenty of fabric to cut these out. So when I cut it out before, was the fold on, I think it was folded like this, because I think the folds were, it was curling like this. The reason why that's important is when I was making my sleep shorts, I cut one of the bands. Well, I put one of the bands on inside out, and it did look like it was a different color. So I'm just trying to remember. I think I put it with the curve, you know, coming up to the up, you know, to the top like this. I think that's the way it was because I straightened out these curves. All right, and then I just want to measure and make sure. I can't really measure from the, oh, you know what? Let me do it this way because then I can measure from the cut edge again. I want to make sure I have the same, you know, amount here. All right, so I'm just going to slide it around like this. Okay. All right. Okay, so let me just make sure I have the same 11.5, almost 11.5. Let me just make this side a little bit deeper, like this. Okay. See, I've got 11.5 and almost 11.5. I think that's close enough. Okay. All right, so I've got that folded nicely. And my back leg is right here. So I'm going to have to cut it out upside down like this. But I think this is the side. Oh no, my crotch was, yeah, my crotch was facing this way, so I want to keep that the same as well. So I'm keeping it the same way, you know, as if there were a nap, and I'm also making sure I cut it so it's, you know, right side out. All right, so I'm going to put that on the fold like this, and now we're going to cut this out. All right, so let's cut this out now. Let me just slide it over ever so slightly. There we go. All right. Now, I couldn't find any cotton jersey in my stash quickly that would make a good liner for this, you know, and because this is moisture wicking fabric and it's really yoga pants fabric, I think what I'm going to do is I'll cut out a liner out of this fabric for this pair, and then I'll find some cotton for the next pair. But basically now, here's what my back looks like. Oh my goodness, that looks ginormous. Well, I shouldn't say that because, you know, when I put this on, it's probably going to fit nice. One of the things about me is I don't like things squeezing me, right? So I'm cutting this out. This looks really big to me, but also, you know, it's flat and I have inch allowances. So really it's 2 inches less wide, right? Because I have the inch, and you can see that both of my edges are curving. So I know this is going to be the right side and this is going to be the right side. And I think what I'm going to do is I am going to move those aside for 1 second, and let's just trace. I'm just going to use this scrap, and I'm literally going to trace. And actually, I'm going to include the seam allowance here. So I'm going to trace this, and I'm going to have it, I don't know, well, let's just have it go to here. So that'll be the front edge of my liner. And then I'm going to put the allowance, I'm going to put the, okay, and this is my seam allowance right here, because I'm going to stick this liner in the seam allowance. Hello. Oh, I don't think I want to try to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Are you working with a magnetic cutting board? Yes, I am. This is the So Tights magnetic cutting system by So Tights. And I think I do have an affiliate link for it in my description of this video. If you use my affiliate link, you get 15% off your purchase. But I can tell you, I love this thing. It comes with 10 magnetic, things. And it also comes with, let me show you this other thing it comes with that I don't use it as often because I'm not a quilter, but there are times I need it. It comes with a magnetic 6.5 by 24 inch ruler that has magnets. And then if you're using this, you can see it's hard to pull because it's already magnetic. And then you can use these to boost the magnetic strength. It really helps your hands if you have sore hands. But I'm going to tell you right now, I have pre-ordered their newer, larger size cutting mat. So they're coming out with a 40-inch wide by 24-inch long. And I took advantage of their pre-sale. So I got buy one, get one free. So I will have basically a 48 by 40-inch mat, putting two of these side by side. I'm so excited because it really helps me manage my fabric and everything. I love So Tights. Love the company, and the nicest people run it. It's an American company run by sisters, and they are amazing. So if you like to support small businesses run by amazing people, So Tights is a wonderful company to support, and also they make amazing products. All right, so see this right here? This is going to be my little liner. And like I said, for now, I'm just going to cut it out of some of this fabric, and I'm going to just use this here. And obviously, I want to keep the stretch going in the same direction. So I'm literally just going to fold this in half like this. Oops. And cut out a liner. And I'm just going to, I'm just going to baste it together and see what happens. I'm literally just going to baste it together. I just want to see. And I'm including the liner because if it fits, then I have it, right? So that's why I'm going to include the liner. Victoria's saying, I can't find nighttime bras that are comfortable. I don't want to wear my day bra that's super supportive. When the company shows up at night, I have to go put on a day bra or Bouncing Ladies. Oh, I have some of those bralette kind of things that are just really, stretchy fabric that I put on. And I mean, I'm a G cup, so I wouldn't wear them like exercising or really running around and doing errands, but they are nice if you're just lounging. Because I do get it, like sometimes, you don't want the weight of your bosoms to bounce around. Like, I don't like that feeling. And, I will put one of those little pull it over the head kind of bralette kind of things on. And they're not perfect, but they do work pretty well. Oh, you're from the Netherlands. You know what? I am willing to bet you will be able to find them because I think they were just in Germany. I think they went to HH in Germany, I think. So they are going international. So you should be able to find them if you go to their website. Definitely check that out. There is a link to their website in the description below. It's really an amazing product. I love it. All right, so I'm going to cut this out now. And also, thank you for watching me. I mean, I know I'm in the United States. I love everybody who watches me in the United States. But when someone from a different country, I get kind of silly that someone from the Netherlands knows who Jennifer at J Stern Designs is, because I feel like I'm this little small, girl in Connecticut and USA. And while I love it that, I do have a following across the United States. I mean, and I guess even if someone like in a state far away from me knows who I am, I get tickled. I don't know. I just find that very humbling. Okay. All right, here's my liner. All right, so let's see what's going to happen here. Like I said, I'm going to do this, obviously, to sew this for real. I'm going to sew it on the serger, and I'm going to play with doing, like flat felled seams, so there isn't a lot of bulk and things lay flat. That's the seam I'm going to try to use to construct these. But to start out, I'm just going to baste them together. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to get my sewing machine. I'm going to try this. Now that I have a liner that matches in my pattern, I'm actually going to pin these together so I don't lose them. And I don't like to waste my really good magic pins, so I use my little flathead pins. So now see, that's safe. I won't lose the piece. Okay, I've got all my pieces right here. I've got my liner. All right, let me get my sewing machine. Okay. All right, so my sewing machine and I have not been getting along because when I was trying to show how to make the baby cuddler like a couple weeks ago, I didn't have my walking foot attached properly, and what happened was I ended up pulling the elastic and stretching it out of shape, you know, and I know not to do that, but I did it anyway, and I ended up making a traditional casing to finish it for real. But it's really important when you're working with, oh wait, oh, you always watch my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That means a lot. I'm gonna make this a better angle so you can see what I'm doing when I start doing it. So pardon my friend in my face cam here because I've got it right next to me, but I think it's just easier to see if you can really see what I'm doing, and also if it was in focus, that would be helpful. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my, well, let me move the machine out of the way for 1 second. So here is my front, and I'll make the curly side the wrong side. I mean, I really can't tell what the right and wrong side is for this. It's space dyed, so it's really, I'll just make sure my curls are both facing out. So these are facing out, so I'm putting right sides together. But then if you look over here, what did I do with my little liner piece? Okay, so I'm going to take, actually, let me turn it around this way so you can see what I'm doing. So here, this is going to be the right side here. That's my, you know, the lower back edge. And you can see it's kind of curling, so I'm just going to lay it flat on this board like this. And then I'm going to take my little liner piece, and I'm just going to lay that right here like this. So I'm going to sandwich the liner in between the front and back. So you can see what I'm doing here is I'm just lining that up. And it's curling like amazing. You just have to have a little patience with the curly fabric. But see, you can get it to lay flat if you take your time. So I've got that laying flat right there. Barbara says, you deserve acknowledgement around the world. Just amazing. Oh, thank you, Barbara. All right, so let's see. I'm going to take my front piece now. And remember, I want the curl to be up on this side because the right sides will be together like this. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to just lay this flat. And to keep it laying flat, I'm going to use clips instead of pins. And I'm going to use my magic clips because my magic clips have such a low profile. I can actually sew and not remove them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my magic clips. I'm literally just going to clip them less than the seam allowance. And they've got lines on them that show you, you know, oops. This reminds me of that Ants in the Pants game that they had when I was little. Let me just, I'm trying to clip them all while also keeping all the edges flat, like this. All right, I think I'm going to go with these three. All right, so now let's bring this back over here. Oops. I'm just going to turn this slightly towards me, a little more like that. And I have to change my thread. I had white in there. So let me just put my black back in. I think I have my black bobbin all ready to go. And what I was saying before, if you have one of these machines, Janome Memorycraft 6700P, I just want to show you in the back. Let's see if we can see it right here. Okay, see in here, oops, you can't see that because my thing is in the way. Hold on. Let me move this down. Oh, not like that. Hold on. Let me move me out of the way. And let me lift this up just a little bit. So I think you can see if I zoom way in here in the back, see how this is here? This is what this right here, this little metal bar has to be seated in there in order for the dual feed to work. So you want to make sure that that's flush and it's in there. When I was trying to sew the other week, it wasn't, and that's why it wasn't advancing the fabric, because the dual feed that's built into the bottom of this presser foot was not working. So you want to make sure this is flush in the back. So I just wanted to take a second and show that. And you know, now it is flush in the back, so yay. All right, so let me just thread my needle and then we'll be good to go. And I think I have the denim needle in here from when I did the jean fixing a couple of weeks ago, but I'm just going to leave it in and see what happens. I am going to use my Thread Magic that I love. Thread Magic. And I'm just going to take my thread and I'm just going to, you know, I'm just going to sink it in there like this and pull it through to lubricate my fabric. I mean my thread. It really helps make quick work of threading your machine. And then I didn't even trim the end. I think I can get it to go in there. Yep. All right, so now I want to baste this, right? Like I want this to be basted, and oops, I'm sorry. I'm gonna put me back over here. Let me just make sure that's really sharp. Okay, and so before I start sewing on these undies, I'm just gonna use a scrap just to make sure I'm getting a good stitch, because I don't want to have to pull anything out. And I'm gonna put my stitch length at like 4.5. So it's a pretty good length stitch, and I'm just gonna stitch along here. Because if this works, I'm literally just going to take it apart and I'm going to sew it, you know, on my serger. All right, so that's a nice big stitch. It's stitching nicely, so I'm good to go. So now let's sew this. So I'm going to be at 3/8 of an inch. Just get this all lined up here. Okay, so we're going to start on this end. I'm going to make sure I'm all lined up here. And so I gave myself a 3/8 inch seam allowance here. So this pattern I'm working with did not come with built-in seam allowances. So you have to remember, if you download this pattern, and remember it's free too, which is really nice. And actually I shared it on my story, and the person who owns the website, or whoever is at the website, did reach out to me and thank me for sharing it. So, you know, I like helping other little companies or whatever. All right, so I'm going to be at 3/8 of an inch, and I'm not going to back tack here because I literally just want to, you know, I just want to see if it fits. I'm going to take one of my shipping labels and I'm going to put it underneath here so I don't chew up the end of the fabric. Even though I have my straight stitch plate on, just to get a clean start, I'm just going to do this. And I'm just going to stitch right along this crotch. But see, my point is with these see how I can stitch right over these magic clips because they're so low profile that I can do that. Okay. All right, so I sewed the crotch. Let's see what we have now. I'm going to take the clips off. I'm just going to tear the paper off. And then let me show you what we have now. Okay, so you can see what's happening is, oh, well, what's happening is I sewed that wrong because, yeah, I sewed it wrong. Of course I sewed it wrong. All right, so what was supposed to happen is not what happened. So I'm officially a ding-dong, I think. So this looks like I would want it to be, right? So from this side, that's fine, right? Because it's here. But I wanted all the seams to be in the middle. So in between the crotch, I mean the whatchamajigger, the liner and the thing. So I did not sew it together right. So you do not sandwich the crotch. I mean, you don't sandwich that piece between them. I think it has to be on top. Let's try this again. So this is like what not to do. So what I just showed you to do is what you don't do. I mean, I want this look on the inside, but I also want it to be, I don't want that on the outside. Oh, hi Polly, you came in just in time for me to show you. I already made a boo-boo. If I lighten this up, you can see. See how the seam is out here? It should not be there. So I've already screwed these up. But you have to remember, in fairness to me, I've never made underwear before. So I'm just going to pull out the stitching. That's why I used a basting stitch. So I can just pull it right out. No need for a seam ripper. I'm just going to pull it out and I'm just going to refigure it here. Uh-oh, I think we got a little stuck at the end. Hold on. Okay. All right, so let's look at this again. Here is my back. I'm going to just start with the front. Here's my front. Okay, now the goal for this is that I want the seam allowances to be I think I have to put, all right, how does this work? If I put this like this, right, that's how we want it to be, but we want the seam to be encased in there. So that means, how do I do that? There's got to be a way to do that. If I put this one like this, what if I put it like this? All right, this is me having a brain fart. All right, hold on. So if I have this like this, This is like when you, this is when you like line a, this is like when you line the, when you want the batting to be inside and you're sewing a pillow. I think we want it to be, I think I want it to be like this. Let me try it like this. Pat's asking me, treat liner like burrito for yoke. Yes, how do I do that? I know how to do that. All right, I don't know why I'm having a hard time with this. So hold on one second. So if I put this here, so these are together, right sides together. So the right side's in there. And then I have this little piece right here. Oh my goodness, this is so embarrassing. I don't even know how. All right, so if I put it like this, that's not going to fix it either, because then the seam allowances will be all showing here. So I have to do it like a yoke, and I have not sewn a yoke in such a long time. Well, okay, so when you do a yoke, you put them on both sides and then you sew it, and then when you flip the yoke up, it's in there. So like if this were the bottom edge of a yoke, right? A minute. All right, so here, let me do this again. So here is this. Oh my goodness gracious. So this is me being a ding-dong. So we, in the end, we want this seam to be Bettina's helping me. Back to front and lining on top. Yes, back to front and lining on top. So back to front and lining on top like this, except it has to go like this. So the curve, this is going to go down, back to front and lining on top. So here is my back. And then this is going to go like this. Like this, I think. Because then when we sew it, it'll all... Okay, wait, I'm just going to double check before I sew. Because... So, like, if you're not sure, like, I'm not sure, I'm just going to put some pins here and I'm going to pretend I sewed it. Honestly, this is so embarrassing. All right. All right, so then I'm going to do this. And there's going to be the right side there. So that'll be good on the right side. Thank you, Bettina gets a gold star. And then you do this. And, nope, no, because the seam is still here. Seam is still right there. See? I mean, it works this way. Now, all I did was switch where the, oh my God, this is incredibly, because now my seam's here. And what we really want is, wow, I am a sewing pro, everybody. And I'm live, so here's what I'm doing. Okay, let's stop and see what Pat's saying. Could you use Mariflex thread you shared in a previous vlog? You can definitely use the stretchy thread to sew with if you want to sew it on your sewing machine. And KS is saying, I have a duffel bag full to the brand new, I have a duffel bag full of brand new oversized granny undies my mother had bought. I hope this will give me tips to alter them to size. It will last me a lifetime if I can make that work. Lining, okay, Bettina says lining on back. So the lining would go here. Like this. All right, let's just put it together like this and see if this works. I mean, we're going to get it eventually. There's only so many combinations of how I could lay this down. Oops, let me just make sure this is connected. This is why I love you guys, because, you know, I'm coming on here. I didn't think about how I was going to do this. And actually, I wasn't even going to do the liner. But then I thought, well, if they work, I might as well just do it. So I love that you just, you know, click along with me. All right, if we sew it like this. Oh, I think that's the winner. Ding, 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 ding. Yes. Thank you. Okay, Bettina gets a gold star. Yes, and Martina and Bettina both get gold stars. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's how you do it. So, of course, I could have actually printed out the instructions that come with the underwear. Did I think to do that? No, no, no. So, all right, everybody, if you're making underwear and you haven't made underwear in a long time, here is the down and dirty on how to get your liner in the right spot. And I'll never forget this. I will remember this for the rest of my life. So I am going to start with laying my front first, because remember, I'm also dealing with the fact that the front curls and I want the curl face down. So let's get it all back in the right order. So here is my front. Okay. And I'm going to get that so the curl is laying flat. All right. All right, here we go. Curl laying flat. Okay. Flat-ish. I played with it a lot now, so now it's mad at me. But basically, let's just get that to lay as flat as possible. Then I'm going to put my back on. And okay, so that does make sense. Let's think about this. Here is my front and my back, right? The liner is going to wrap around and conceal the seam allowances on the inside of the underwear. So that makes sense that the liner would be in the back, so I can wrap it around to the front and encase those seam allowances. So I understand why this is the way to do it now that my two ladies, I think those are my two ladies from Germany, actually. Oh, Dr. Blonde Girl says, love this. It's like you're in my brain. Well, you know, I've said this many times. My FabFit Fridays are for me to feel safe to try things that I'm not sure are going to work, or to try something new, or also to share something I'm a pro at. So I've told everybody that I've never made underwear before. This is my first pair of underwear ever. So I really appreciate you all hanging out with me and doing it. Now my back is here. And here we are with the liner. So, so I'm going to make this with the curl face up. So it's the other way. And now I'm going to pin it and we're going to do it again. See, I'm so happy I had you guys to hold my hands on my first pair. All right, let's. And also, you should remember the next time you're trying something new, the only people not making any mistakes ever are the people who aren't trying new things. Or people who don't review the instructions first. Like I did not review the instructions. I literally just cut it out. I only downloaded the pieces. I mean, printed out the pieces. I didn't print out the instructions. All right. Okay. Yay. So now let's go back to the sewing machine now that I have that pinned on properly. And let me just make it a little less bright, maybe. Okay. All right, so now let's sew this. And again, just to keep all my fabric from starting off smoothly, I'm just going to put a little piece of paper underneath the end of it here, like this. All right, and then I'm just going to line all this up. Start right there. And again, this is just basting, because if this works, I will take it apart and sew it on the serger. I mean, if it fits, And we know this part's going to work. Okay, let's see. Did I catch it funny over there? Of course I did. Well, we'll worry about that in a minute. All right. Okay. All right, and I think oh, actually, I think it's okay. All right, let's look and see what I did. All right, so this should be much more impressive than my first attempt. So here we are in the back. Okay, so we like that. That's the right side, right? And then we're going to turn it like this. And I can go ahead and I can put it up like this. So look we have success, you guys. Yay! Okay, and just for purposes of keeping this from flapping all over God's green earth, I am going to just baste that down flat so it's not flopping around. Because what I want to do is as soon as I sew these side seams, I'm going to step off camera and I'll try it on. I think you guys deserve to know if I'm going to need to make any fit adjustments. I'm sorry I'm not brave enough to show you how it's actually going to look. I'm going to put my stitch length all the way on 5 here. I want this really easy to take out. But again, I just want to baste it down for now. Okay. All right, so now I have my underwear, and I'm going to put wrong sides together. So this is the right side in the back. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. Oh, Tana goes, I always scan instructions and then think I'll know how to proceed and then not. I know. I think. All right. So I'm going to fold this up like this so I can put my side seams together. And actually, I'm going to put it together with my side seams face out because remember, I have that inch allowance. So actually, I want my side seams to be on the outside for right now because I'm still fitting. So I'm going to go ahead and just line up my side seams and just pin them together. And I'm just going to sew them at 1 inch because that's what I gave for a seam allowance. So these are looking like they might be a little bit too big for me, but let's just see. Okay. I think I'm going to switch to the smaller Wonder Clips for this. I'm just gonna, there isn't so much curl going down the side seam. I am excited about this though, because if I can get this to fit right, I am going to be so excited. I'm going to make myself up a dozen pairs. Now, of course, the next thing is going to be the leg opening finish, and I'm going to play with that with some scraps. So next week, what I'll be sharing with you is how I decided to finish all of my openings, because I want them to be not tight and pulling, but also I want them to have shape. Like I don't want them to obviously gape open away either. So I'm going to be playing with that during the week, and then I will show you. And actually, you know what I can do? I can actually put these, I don't even need, you know what? I don't think I even need to try these on. I just thought of something. Remember, my ditto form is totally my size. Now, it may be a little weird through the crotch, but at least I can get the rise correct. So maybe I'll just stick it on my ditto form instead, and that way I can actually show you how they're going to fit. Okay, so let me just sew these, and remember I have 1 inch allowance, so I'm going to sew 1 inch. Okay, so Bettina says for your next undie, cut the seam allowance down one side from the lining, then it's not so bulky when you seam the legs. Cut down. So are you saying to grade the seam allowances on one side from the lining? I mean, I could grade the seam allowances so they're not bulky. I could definitely do that. All right, now this is an inch, remember, so I'm going to go ahead and get this at the inch. And I'm literally just basting these together. And then, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my ditto form off the pole, and that will allow me to just put them on without the pole. So we'll be able to see how they fit. Because even though the through the leg area isn't, you know, anatomically correct, it's pretty close. Because the crotch measurement is correct and the depth is correct. So actually this will be better than me going off camera to try them on, and then you can't see. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so again, we're going to go with the inch. And actually I'm sewing so far I can just leave the clips. All right. Okay. All right, let me move my sewing machine out of the way, and I'm going to get my ditto form on the table. Oh, yeah, I'm not worried about fitting them. So Victoria's saying if they don't work, I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'm not worried about fitting them. I'm just worried. I was just worried about the construction. And also, I'm not worried, but I do want to make sure that all right, I'm going to take the pole off. I'm going to take this off my pole. She's really easy to put on and off. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just fold up my, okay, wait, let me just lift this up high now. Okay, let me just put this up here. Maybe make it less. Okay, so I'm just going to put these on so we can see. You always sew with a zigzag stitch. Yeah, well, for my real ones, I'm going to be on my serger. But even when I'm sewing knits, I've sewed yoga pants on my sewing machine, and I use a very short straight stitch, and I stretch as I go. So, versus using the zigzag. All right, let me stand this up now. So we'll be able to see how these fit. Oops, hold on. Well, I'll tell you right now, they're not as big as I thought they were going to be. Actually, they're not. So I shouldn't have joked about them being so big, because look at, they're really not that big. All right, I'm going to take this cover is annoying me. Let me take this cover off. Hold on. Hold. I'm just going to take this off. And that way I don't have all of this competing fabric. Let me just get this off. Should have taken it off before I started putting my underwear. I'm going to... Oh dear. If I unzipped it all the way, it probably would come off better. Hold on. I really should have had a separating zipper for this cover. All right, there we go. Cover's off. Underwear are on. All right, so let's stand that up. I don't know if that's a good angle. All right, I can show you like this. All right, so as you can see, I don't know if this is correct here. And I don't know if, just lay her down here. You know, I think, you know, underneath in here, this might not be correct here. This might not be correct. So I'm going to try them on and see how they fit. but you can see that they have a pretty, what I would consider a nice loose fit. So I am excited about this. Now remember, I did add 3/4 of an inch to the height. I cut out the size extra large. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. I will try them on after, you know, I get off. But I think that that's pretty close. I like a full coverage underwear, I'll be honest. So now you know what I like for underwear. This may be too high. I think this would be my finished width, so I'm going to cut that 3/4 of an inch that I added off here, because I don't want it to be, I like them to sit a little bit below my natural waist. But I am excited about that. I think all in all, those came out pretty good after I figured out the crotch situation. Oh, that is a weird angle. Let me do this. All right, so hold on. I can show you like this too. This might be a better view. See? So I'm pretty, I mean, I think this is what I like for coverage. Oops. And if anybody is wondering about ditto form, that's what I'm holding. It's my ditto form. And you can see how lightweight it is. So she's really my best friend for fitting. And I have a really good idea about this underwear now that I tried it on her. So I'm excited. All right, so Barbara asked me what pattern. Hey, Barbara. There is a link to the description. It's a free PDF pattern from Make Bra Shop, and there is a link for the PDF pattern in the description below. Oh, Bettina says they look good. And I'm going to play with all the construction for next week. So we fit them here pretty good. I think I'm going to try them on. I might make some minor changes. We'll see. But then I'm going to take them apart and I'm going to sew them for real. And I think I'm going to use I'm going to play with the flat lock stitch to get seams that don't have any bulk. And then I'm also going to play with different ways to finish the leg openings, because I don't want elastic. And then I'm going to also work on the waistband. So next week I'll share all of those things with you, and I will have a completely made pair by next Friday. So I'm very excited about this project, and I can see now that maybe my, shopping for underwear has come to an end, and I can make my own, because I can see already that I'm going to like these, because I like, I like the lower leg opening, like not a high leg opening. And I like having, a few inches of side seam, like a good, 6 inches or so of side seam. So I'm really excited. So thank you for coming on my journey to make my first pair. And I'm thanking Bettina and Martina for helping me figure out how that crotch lining wraps around to encase those seam allowances. And I will also look at, trimming, trimming the, and grading the seams. Super excited. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful, in the United States, it's Memorial Day weekend. Of course, it does not feel like summer here. Literally, it's been cold and rainy the past 2 days. I think it might get a little warmer. But enjoy your 3-day weekend, because here we have, well, a lot of people have Monday off. I will not have Monday off. I don't do holidays, so I might do a little fun, maybe a barbecue or something. But I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And next week we will have completed undies. I'm so excited to show you how I decide to finish everything, and I'm super excited. So thank you guys too, and thank you for all your help. I appreciate it. Yes, thank you. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Sorry, I don't want to completely murder it, so I'm not going to say it, but thank you for your tips as well. Oh, Tana says, thanks. I've been wondering about underwear making with no luck so far. Enjoy your holiday weekend, everyone. Yay. Well, we're going to get these underwear, because now I'm on a mission. So again, I just want to remind you, I cut out the extra large, and I'm like a 46 full hip. And my waist is probably 43, but lower, like my low tummy is like a 43. So that's why I picked that size. But anyway, thank you, and have a sparkly rest of your day. I'm going to sign off. You have a good week too, Martina. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.